Welcome back, everyone. It's Captain Shu here, and today I'm going to be doing a video. Well, actually, I'm just here to talk about the new developer diary that just came out by Wargaming. This this news is this was just recently released, like not even I want to say 12 hours ago, just over 12 hours ago. So let's get into it.
Test is coming.
Global changes will be introduced into the game.
Tech trees have been reworked.
You'll be able to get days of premium account.
The paradigm of all shell types in the game has changed.
You'll get a vehicle in its top configuration.
We've increased the durability of all vehicles, especially low-tier ones.
We started working on these changes within a large update, New Balance. A massive test of New Balance will be held in the next 10 days. Global changes are coming to the game, and they will affect a lot of aspects, from shell balance to the tech tree. We're making all these changes for a certain reason.
There's always been three types of shells in our game. However, special shells have always been the most effective and attractive from the player's point of view. Just like standard shells, special shells can be purchased for credits. They deal the same amount of damage, but have much better penetration. Obviously, they are the most efficient in battle. Sure, they're more expensive than standard shells, but all economic calculations are made after the battle. When in battle, you only care about combat efficiency.
Our main goal was to decrease the efficiency of special shells, while increasing it for standard shells. Shell types should have different advantages for different combat situations. At the time, alongside changing the shell properties, we were working on several other improvements, and it would be logical to introduce them all together. So we started working on these changes within a large comprehensive update that we call New Balance. Since last summer, we've tested 4 sandbox iterations, where we've been checking our hypotheses together with you, reworking the shell balance.
Alright, so far, from what I'm seeing, it's getting new shell balances, so I guess let's just keep looking before I delve down into the rest of this. Hey, things are not working for me right now. What the hey?
System was the main change.
According to the new model, standard shells will cause the most damage and feature good penetration while remaining inexpensive. On the other hand, special shells have the best armor penetration, which compensates for the lower amount of damage they cause. They're also much more expensive. Finally, we have high explosive, or in other words, tactical shells. They've become more effective for calibers below 120 millimeters, but for calibers above 150 millimeters, their efficiency has decreased.
So, in terms of what we just watched, I personally like it. It gets rid of the whole, in my opinion, it starts to take away the name of preem rounds, gold rounds, and actually make, and even I would want to even say special rounds. It's more of it's the second option. The high penetration rounds. You got your standard high penetration, and you got your HE now. At least that's how I'm looking at it, and I like how the AP and I might just call them high penetration rounds. HP. Well, the AP and the HP have different. I lost my train of thought. it it basically dwindles down the whole usage of preem rounds, and turns it into this high penetration round. And I do also like the fact that these rounds don't do as much damage as your standard AP. Your standard AP will be the more suggested. It may not pen as much, but it has but the damage output is at its max. where the high penetration rounds, well, as the name implies, penetrate has the best penetration, but in terms of damage, it's not very it's not as optimal as the AP. One thing I do want to check though, I have right here, cost effectiveness. There we go.
Of damage they cause. They're also much more.
So what I'm seeing here is, or what it looks like is, the high penetration rounds are going to stay very expensive, but the trade-off is actually better. We'll see if
Damage and feature good penetration while remaining inexpensive. On the other hand, special shells have the best armor penetration, which compensates for the lower amount of damage they cause. They're also much more expensive. Finally, we have high explosive, or in other words, tactical shells. They've become more effective for calibers below 120 millimeters, but for calibers above 150 millimeters, their efficiency has decreased. We've also improved the mechanics of causing damage.
And by the looks of it, high explosive rounds are going to be more expensive too, by the looks of it, by how the stars were shown. And I honestly don't mind the whole HE balance. It all depends on, obviously, the vehicles. But let's just see what else they have to say.
With an HE shell, it's become more predictable for both the shooter and their target. Within the new system, using only HE shells to cause damage will not be as useful as before, provided that other types of shells are available. Firing HE shells only will dramatically decrease your damage per minute. According to the new mechanics, very few vehicles can penetrate armor with an HE shell. The only exceptions are the KV-2 and KV-2.
Okay. So that just explained it. And when I saw this, or how I'm seeing this, it's great news. And how I'm a KV2 player, and to see my KV2 lose its bunker busting ability, it's very disheartening. Earlier I think it was last year, they talked about the HE nerf, and HE was gonna this nerf was gonna hinder the KV2, the Sheridan, most vehicles that use HE. I think Artie's were a little bit of a different case, but it was gonna be very hard to do. But I'm glad that the KV2 and the KV2R they're gonna stay to their original roots, because when I think of World of Tanks, the KV2 is one of the mascots that I think of. It's not the Tiger, it's not the M4 Sherman, it's not the T-34, it's the KV2. The KV2 at Tier 6 stands out, and to butcher your mascot is, to me, not a good thing to do. You don't want to butcher your mascot. But I'm glad that they're not taking this to the extreme and nerfing HE to the bloody ground.
They will still be capable of doing so. As for vehicles that mostly rely on high explosive-based gameplay, for example the T-49 or the Sheridan, the penetration of their HE shells has decreased, but they remain as effective as before. High explosive and HESH shells that previously featured better penetration will now cause higher damage to compensate for their decreased penetration within the new system. Therefore, their efficiency will not change. Still, there are few such vehicles. You can see
So by the looks at this list here, the heavy tanks, the Jap heavies, they're going to be really hindered. the 405 Stage 2, and the Conway. Centurion. Oh, all the EBRs, that's great to see that they're being hindered. Because, and actually a few of these vehicles I don't see being HE spammers. Well, the Jap heavies, the T-49, Conway, and the 4005, and the Death Star. Wow, or the 183. That's really that. Well, I guess that's expected. Good to see that. Well, a bunch of premium tanks I'm seeing too. The Panzer 58, the Cajun Panzer. Ooh, even the Progetto and the Standard B. That's good to see. The Chieftain Mark 6 and the T95 Chieftain. The Tortoise, that's interesting. Tortoise isn't really much of an HE, or it's not an HE slinger. It's more of a, well, empty the tank as fast as possible because you have enough rounds to do it. Even the Seton. Well, Super Conqueror. Once again, I'm happy that they're balancing. And the fact that they're balancing all these ammunition choices right away and together, it shows that the way I see it, it's not that. The way I see it, we don't have to suffer. Because they would do ammunition changes from here and there, and we would have to suffer through an entire patch and wait for the next patch to come out for these changes to be implemented. And I'm not saying this is a good solution, but it's a good enough solution to get started. It's a great start to a problem when it comes to the ammunition. As far as the ammunition stuff goes, I like where this is going.
See them all in your screen.
As a result, each of these 3 shell types is suitable for different combat situations. Within the reworked system, standard shells are best suited for causing the maximum damage per shot. When using special shells, you sacrifice damage per minute for the sake of penetration chance. HE shells can be used when you can't damage an enemy with other types of shells. Also, you can use them to reset the base capture, land the final blow on an enemy vehicle, or damage an external module, for example, tracks.
Obviously, the balance changes have also affected SPGs. Now they have 3 shell types, just like other vehicles. Standard shells, high explosive shells that can stun enemy vehicles remain unchanged.
Alright. I totally forgot about the SPGs, and I'm glad that they're making SPGs their own independent, they have their own independent shells, besides probably HE. They're the shell characteristics, at least.
Special shells. They are also high explosive shells. They cause more damage and feature a greater burst radius, but cannot stun enemies. And finally, armor-piercing or heat shells. They have great penetration and cause predictable, yet less damage.
The efficiency of these shells also depends on combat conditions. If you need to stun an enemy and cause damage, pick a standard shell. If you're targeting a large group of enemies or want to cause more damage, use a special shell, since they feature wider burst radius and cause a bit more damage. Still, if your target is well armored, go for the third shell type. For example, when you're aiming at the slow mouse equipped with a spall liner, it's rather easy to hit, so it's better to fire an AP shell once rather than try to cause some damage with HE shells. Together with increasing standard shell damage, we've also increased the durability of vehicles accordingly to preserve the system balance. However, when boosting hit points of vehicles, we've considered the
Alright, so from what I've seen here, it's promising for artillery players now. When the original rebalance of artillery came, it knocked out ammunition. It severely hindered the ammunition, and then when stunning mechanics came in, it was like it was crazy. But this shows, once again, this is a great start to fix a problem. With I know the fandom doesn't like artillery players, and artillery players have had it very rough for a long time, and this, I believe, is a good way to bring back artillery. You give them back their AP rounds that do tons of damage, but you also give them a third shell, or you give them options. You give the artillery players options besides just the one shell, or the two shells, the preem shell that was very expensive. And now that they're bringing back their AP, it's like, well, it's going to be great. It's going to be great to see. Well, I hope we don't get one-shotted like we used to back way before patch, I think it was 2.0, where an artillery player with his preem round or his AP round would just one-shot a vehicle right in the beginning of the game, and that was personally, I didn't mind that because it didn't happen to me very often. It happened once every 50 to 100 games. But I'm pretty sure for other people it was more along the lines of once every 25 to 10 games. But let's see what else is there.
Corresponding factors such as armor. As for Tier 1 to 6 vehicles, their durability has been additionally increased. Respectively, durability is increased more evenly from tier to tier. These vehicles now have better survivability, and the consequences of a mistake have become less severe.
During the previous 4 sandbox iterations, the developers were testing the balance changes only. The current test will be the largest one. It comprises all previous balance tweaks supplemented by other related game elements.
Alright, before we go on to this next section, I like the whole survivability, giving the lower tiers more hit points. Whenever I played lower tier vehicles like tier 1 through 5, I had very minimum health, which means I can't really make mistakes. And I've been on there today. I've been on the test server today, or sandbox server today, and took a look around, and a lot of vehicles, very well done changes. A lot of the smaller tiers have 2 to 3 times more hit points than they used to. And to me, when I saw that, with my own vehicle, it's like I have more opportunity. I'm not instantly focused and dead within a minute of the game. I can survive up to maybe 2 to 3 minutes now. And if you're a really good player, you're not who's focused. You have more hit points to survive the bombardment of focus fire. Alright, let's see what's next.
One of the key features is the reworked tech trees. Currently, they're rather complicated. Players have difficulties using it, and sometimes it's not clear how to research a desired Tier 10 vehicle. This is particularly crucial for the title nations, USA, Germany, and USSR.
Previously, the tech trees of these nations were rather clear. However, over time, we've introduced more vehicles to the game. In particular, we're talking about historical vehicles that saw real combat. As a result, these tech trees have become more complicated at low tiers. We want to make the new tech trees more clear, visually appealing, and user-friendly. At the same time, we acknowledge the importance of historical vehicles and want to keep them in the game. Therefore, some vehicles will become collector's vehicles, while the tech trees will become more simple.
Let's see how it works on the Soviet tech
Oh, sorry, that's me.
tree. For example, we've removed 13 vehicles from it, mostly low-tier vehicles. The remaining vehicles make up the new tech tree. The branch of heavy tanks is the primary one. Since this vehicle type is the most understandable and popular, to arrange the branch in a better fashion, we've introduced the BT-5 tank. The Soviet branches of tank destroyers and medium tanks start from the heavy tanks. SPGs and light tanks are displayed on the edges, since they are more team-focused vehicles. Premium vehicles have been moved to a separate tab at the bottom. It expands upon hovering over it with the mouse. However, some premium vehicles might not be displayed there. You can go to the shop to view the full list of premium vehicles.
I looked at this earlier today as well, and I personally, I like what they're doing. It's very nice. They're trying to make it simple for a new player to look at the end of the line, find a tier 10, and look at the line. It's not complicated, unlike today's tech tree or the current tech tree. Ugh. The current tech tree is a little bit confusing and it's hard to navigate. Where this, I can see it's simplistic and it's easy to find, easy to go through, and the fact that they put premium vehicles at the bottom in its own little area, I think it's a nice change. It's a nice change to what the current is, and what I saw of it, most of the smaller tech trees like Japan, Poland, Italy, Czechoslovakia, those weren't, I looked at those and they weren't really changed, but they were not very, there wasn't much to them in the first place, which isn't a bad thing. Now, if we're talking, like the video says, Russia, Germany, America, Britain, the big four, there's a lot of vehicles, and a few vehicles I like. And I guess let's see what else they say about those vehicles that are being removed.
Simplified tech trees can be displayed on the screen of most existing monitors, one vehicle column per tier. It's become easier to locate the required vehicle of a certain type. We've also introduced a feature for zooming in on the tech tree, so players can get a closer look at a particular area. This principle of arranging tech trees is applied to all nations in the game. After making the tech trees simpler, the number of available low-tier vehicles has decreased significantly, even within the densest nations. For example, the USA. You can now research a total of 11 vehicles and get all vehicles from Tier 1 to 5. You won't need to go back to them to research high-tier vehicles, so players can save a lot of both experience and time.
We had to remove a total of 92 vehicles from the tech trees to make them less complicated. In addition, to better arrange the tech trees, we've introduced 3 new vehicles: the BT-5, the Cavalier, and the T6 Medium. The vehicles that have been removed from the trees will still remain in the game. They will become collector's vehicles. If you already have these vehicles in your garage, they will remain on your account with all their consumables and equipment. Tier 1 to 5 vehicles will be added to the Collector's Vehicles tab in the shop. Vehicles there are sorted by nation. To gain access to the collector's vehicles of the certain nation, you need to research at least one Tier 6 vehicle of the same nation. Collector's vehicles can be purchased for credits. You don't need to spend experience to get them. Still, modules for such vehicles are researched the same way as with regular vehicles. Players research modules for experience and use credits to purchase them. In addition, such modules can be equipped to other suitable vehicles. A collector's vehicle does not differ from its previous version. However, it can only be purchased in the shop.
As for Tier 6 to 10 vehicles, it's a different case. There are few such vehicles. They are not being removed from the game, and you'll be able to get them in the future. How? We'll explain later.
Yeah, wrong spot.
If you already have any of these vehicles, when the update is released, it will remain in your garage. Moreover, it will be converted.
Alright, there we go. So I see this is a few examples, and I personally have a few of these vehicles, and a few of them I do want in the future, and with what this tells me is that on the live server, I need to hurry up and I need to get these vehicles before they disappear. Now I understand that they'll be available later, but I still want to go through the whole. I still want to earn them, as most people like to do. And I like that they're not pulling these vehicles away to sell for gold at a later time, because that's like those of us who didn't have the vehicles now have to pay gold, where people that originally had them when they came out don't have to pay a dime. And these special vehicles, I'm not sure. I don't think they'll turn the special vehicles into like a premium vehicle where you get more XP, more credits. I think they'll stay the same as their counterparts. And if that's the case, then that's great. They're, like they said, they're collector's items now, or collector vehicles. Some of them are still very useful, like, for example, the J Panther 2 over in the German tech tree, as seen here. It's a phenomenal vehicle. I myself am going after that vehicle. I just haven't earned the credits to get it yet. Or, for better yet, a vehicle that I haven't gotten yet would be the KV-13 or the Churchill gun carrier. I think that they're great vehicles. I personally would play these vehicles and like to play them and earn them as I don't know, it's just something feels right about just earning a vehicle instead of just buying it for credits. But I can see where they're coming with this. It gives you a necessity to play the game to earn credits so you can buy these vehicles. And they said they would, and they'll be at their top, their highest performance, have all the modules, or scratch that, the best loadout for that vehicle. Which is, I personally think, pretty good. Once again, the tech tree change up, I would like to say a good start too. It's a good start to a problem.
To a special vehicle, and you'll get it in its top configuration, even if you've not researched a single module for it yet. If you previously researched and purchased a vehicle that is now removed from the branch, we'll automatically unlock the next vehicle or the vehicle of a higher tier in the same tech tree.
Blueprint fragments of vehicles that we're going to remove will be converted into national blueprint fragments. If a vehicle has been moved down a tier, which causes a difference in the number of blueprint fragments, this difference will also be compensated with national fragments. During the test, we will be checking many vehicle changes, but we can't test everything using this format. For example, statistics. It will obviously change when the number of hit points and damage dealt change. We are planning to introduce certain periods that will allow you to more accurately track your new accomplishments using the new values. We will have two statistics tabs. The first one will include all your achievements, and the other one will show you only the most relevant ones, for example, for the last 3 months. The new tab with the relevant statistics will work with the period logic in mind. When a period ends, another one of the same length will launch. We are still thinking what relevant statistics period length to choose in order to make it the most efficient for you to track your progress.
We also understand that these changes will affect the personal missions of both campaigns. The conditions of the damage and the hit points related to missions will be updated sometime after New Balance is released, when we acquire enough data for it.
Battle economy that directly depends on the damage dealt and the hit points of the vehicle will also be corrected. The income will not decrease in any case. We want to keep it at the same level as before. Credits awarded will be changed in such a way so that you will earn as much as you did before with the same battle performance.
It's now time to conduct a thorough test to come to a final conclusion regarding the New Balance. This stage of testing is probably the most important one, so we would like as many players as possible to participate. We will let everyone who takes part in the test provide their feedback in a special survey. Of course, it will take some time, so we will reward those who decide to participate. There will be special missions on the test server that will allow you to get days of World of Tanks Premium account, and a special medal on the main server for completing them. To earn these rewards, you need to both complete missions and complete a special survey. You'll receive it in the primary game client after the test finishes, approximately on February 19th. The rewards for those missions will only be added to your account if you play on the test server and answer all the questions in the survey.
Taking part in the New Balance test is as easy as participating in the common tests. Follow the link in this video's description. Download and launch a special file. If you don't have Wargaming.net Game Center installed, it will be installed along with the test version of the game. If you already have WGC installed, it will automatically let you install the test version after you launch the file. Then, on the World of Tanks page, in the Game Instance menu, select the New Balance test and click Play. There may be queues on the server because its capacity is restricted. Try waiting a bit or logging in at another time.
During the final testing stage, we will transfer your account completely. We will transfer all your vehicles, service record, and items. It's necessary to let you accurately judge all the changes that will be implemented on the test server.
This test is a very important step towards the New Balance, and the test results will show in what way it will appear in the game. Take part in the test, share your opinions, and receive rewards. See you soon!
Alright. In terms of the economics, well, I'm glad there's not much to say about the economic system. It's a good change, but in terms of getting this stuff out for the missions, it looks like these are the missions. It's not a bad deal, actually, that I'm looking at it. You just got to be top 10 in each tier. Tier 1 through, or 2 through 4, 5 through 7, and 8 through 10. It's not by the looks of it, in 30 battles, which requires us, let's see, 30, 60, 9, wait, whoa. So 10, 25, so 55 battles. So 55 battles, that's all that Wargaming's asking to do all these missions. It's not that bad. Let's see, February 10th. And I highly encourage you guys to do this. This is not, for these missions, you can do 10 battles in a day. Well, actually, you can do 10 battles and you can do both these missions in a day. This one, it could take a little bit. It's, for your casual player, it might take a day or two. For hardcore, it'd take maybe an hour. Well, not an hour. It'd take you less than a few hours. And for your very rare players, it'd take maybe 3-4 days. But I highly encourage you guys to try this out and put in your 2 cents. This is our chance to tell the developers what we think. And personally, I I've got no, besides maybe the vehicles, the special vehicles, I've got no real beef with any of it. That this is, I was telling a friend of mine earlier, I was telling Crow about this earlier, and I compared this to 2.0 when when the physics and graphics change came into World of Tanks. This is, I compared it to this, compared this to 2.0. And personally, I like this. I think that the sandbox server, I guess the way I want to go about it is World of Tanks doing what they have been doing, 4 sandbox tests for key problems or big problems, and working out a very solid solution like this. I like, it's good to see that the sandbox server hasn't gone to waste. It's taken us a while, but it's finally showing its worth, and I think this was definitely worth the wait. Now it's up to us, the regular players, the players, the actual player base, besides the special people that get to the sandbox server before us. I think it's up to us now to put in our 2 cents and to play the heck out of this. Play it and just really, and just make World of Tanks, the developers of World of Tanks, hear what we have to say, I guess, in a matter of speaking. Because, like I said before, this is the way I see it, this is a good thing. This is very good. A lot of key problems are being addressed, such as the ammunition. If I scroll, yeah, and they're changing HE, which is not my favorite thing, but once again, how I see it, they're keeping their mascot alive. In my opinion, the KV2 is the mascot of World of Tanks, and they're keeping it special. Artillery, they're getting their APCR or their AP rounds back, which is going to please a lot of artillery players. English, can't speak it. The tech tree, once again, it's a good solution. I'm not saying it's perfect, because there's a lot of vehicles that are being taken out that I want to get or I thoroughly enjoy. And there's people out there that probably already have the vehicles, or the people that don't have the vehicles that are going to be taken out. They'll want the vehicles and they're going to be taken out. But it's good to see that they're going to come back here as collective or collection vehicles. So yeah, that's overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I've putting this at an 8, maybe an 8.5. It's very good. Actually, I'll put it as a 9. It's very good. It's just, no, I'll keep it as an 8. Never mind. I'll 8 out of 10. There's a lot good with this. There's a lot good with it. And I guess the few things that I'm iffy on are, I guess, trivial or not really that significant. But to me, it's stuff that I guess I'm used to, and they're just taking it away, and it's a whole new thing I have to learn. I guess I'm just being lazy that way. I mean, they're relocating 92 vehicles. That's a lot. That's a lot of vehicles, and that's a lot of cleaning. But and all you have to do is log on, battle. You get the rewards here are very nice. A lot of good personal reserves. And you don't have to do that much. It's not bad. So I guess that's my analysis and my take on this video. Once again, this is all my opinion. If you have your own opinions, please put it down in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say.